You look tired, boy. Rest yourself. You punks look tuckered out, too. That's an attention getter. All right, now you boys just stay here and watch the car. There might be some vandals around who want to steal something. So you boys just stay here and keep your hands on the car until one of my associates arrive. And don't go home. And don't go to eat. And don't play with yourself. It wouldn't look nice on my highway.
That is a blast from the past right there. Good stuff. So welcome, everybody, to the Rhythm Section Podcast. That's Jeff.
That's Derrick.
And we are grateful for you to be here with us today. As you know, this podcast is mostly about music. We interview some awesome musicians in the Memphis music area, but also, you know, pillars of the community. People like a Steve Owens or a Danny Day or Brandon Marlier, which is going to be our guest today, where they provide support and services with things outside of just being a musician. So we got that, right. And we trickle in the random nonsense, much like our sound bites at the beginning of everything. So, right. Jeff, tell everybody where they can find us, please.
Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Stitcher, anywhere you want to go.
That's right. Soon, down the road, Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to mess with TikTok.
Yeah.
But this is a Facebook audience, Facebook community, so who knows. But we are coming to you pre-recorded from SRP Studios in Hernando and produced by Shelby Row Productions. If you're interested in starting a podcast, please go to shelbyrowproductions.com and sign up for that free consultation. We develop podcasts including audio and video production, graphic designing, copywriting, and social media management. And don't forget to support through Patreon. Patreon is a exclusive subscription, but we do not have exclusive content on there. We have what's called a tip jar. It's $1 a month. You sign up for that, and you can spare $12 a year.
Yep.
That would be hugely helpful. And we actually have some Patreons, or patrons, as they say, to announce. We have a few now that have signed up, and we're very grateful, and I want to highlight them.
Yep.
And as usual, parental discretion is advised.
Yeah.
What's up, Jeff?
Man, not much. Just as we record this, getting ready to brave some single-digit temperatures.
Yes. So the distance between this recording and when it publishes is about a week and a half.
Yeah.
We are recording on a Thursday.
Yeah.
Usually it's Sunday, but because of the holiday, we've adjusted that.
Yeah.
So again, So Brandon, you say Marlier, right?
Marlier.
Well, yeah.
I think it's up in the air.
When he was in here, he's like, it's Marlier.
Yeah.
You know, it's
whatever
French.
you want to call him, he jumped to the top of the list because he's the first guy to bring a bottle of whiskey in here for the interview.
Did. He rolled in. What was the whiskey?
I don't even remember, but it was tasty.
He came prepared with a little tumbler.
Yeah.
But I think after we recorded, then I asked him about his last name. So I was saying his name wrong. But I think it's like Louisiana French, Cajun, descent. So it's Brandon Marlier.
Like Kunas? Is that what
probably, Kunas. But so Brandon is, known. He's a drummer in town, but he's also really known for his light shows and what he provides bands with lights. But, we'll get a little more into him. But first off, let's start with Jeff. You have some things you'd like to talk about.
Yeah, well, I don't. This time I don't have a lot to talk about, but I did want to say I hope everyone, considering when this is airing, I hope you had a wonderful New Year. I hope you were all safe, didn't do anything too stupid. If you're trying to get out of jail to hear the podcast, then we know you were an idiot.
And hopefully, if you're not in a band, you caught us and Derek Joseph at the Sidecar Cafe on New Year's Eve.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to throw out, don't know who is aware or who has gotten their tickets, but as this airs in 2 days, Jeff Tate will be playing Lafayette's, the former vocalist for Queensryche.
At Lafayette's.
Yeah,
that's
I'm
crazy.
Looking really forward to that show. I've got tickets and can't wait. One thing I don't care for, I've seen some videos online, and I don't know if it's the same show that we're going to get, but the drummer's using an electronic drum kit, which I hate.
Which is weird.
It's really weird. But hopefully they bring the Thunder with a big, fat acoustic kit.
I mean, Jeff Tate needs big drums. Come
Big
on.
everything.
Queensryche?
Yeah, I know. It just doesn't seem to fit. Now, that said, what I heard sounded phenomenal.
Sure.
The guy hasn't lost very much, if anything. He's still got the pipes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he can sing his butt off.
I wonder if they've detuned a little bit for him.
I don't know.
Down half a step.
Yeah, I don't know. But it sounds good, and I'm looking forward to that show. But that's all I got.
I can imagine that should sell pretty good.
I would think so.
You know?
I would think it would be elbow to elbow in there, but who knows?
I follow Blabbermouth
Yeah.
on Facebook, which is comical.
Right.
There's a lot of funny stuff going on in those threads. But he's always in there, man. He's always got shows.
Yeah.
He's been busy.
Yeah.
You know, so well, be sure to check that out. Now, I want to highlight some people. We got the new patrons, but also I want to start with my new friend, my new buddy here in Hernando, Ryan Duran. Hope you're listening, Ryan.
Yeah.
So Ryan and his wife, Darlene, opened up a business here in Hernando called Boba Cream.
Okay.
They serve, among other things, plenty of stuff, but it's based on boba tea. I don't know if anyone doesn't know what boba tea, and I will probably butcher this, so I'm sorry, Ryan, but it's like the typical boba tea is milk tea.
Okay.
Mixed with these popping pearls that have like different flavors like strawberry or grape or mine is coffee milk tea with yogurt popping pearls.
All right, I'm going to have to try this. I have zero clue what you're talking about.
Check it out. Google boba tea.
All right.
Do your research and then realize it's delicious. And then go to Boba Cream right here in Hernando.
Right.
It's just out off the square, heading east from the square, maybe a quarter mile on the right. So the reason why I bring him up is we posted, why don't you go show him to the camera, Jeff? We got these coffee mugs made, right?
Yeah.
And
Steve Owens and Katrina
thank
Owens.
you, Steve Owens, Katrina Owens. Yeah. We got some new shirts. We got all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And he made a comment. He's like, I want that in my life. And I think I saw a comment previously, but I'm like, I wonder if he really listens, you know? And I know we got a lot of listenership in Memphis now and everything, but I think it's neat because he's down the street. We're neighboring businesses, small businesses. He's a big music fan, but he's not part of the Memphis music scene at all.
Right.
So anyone that's part of the Memphis music machine, this is working. Right. It reached someone and he's learning.
Yeah.
He doesn't know any of these people that we interview, but he's into it. And he's learning about these people.
So cool.
Which is very cool. And so I delivered him a mug yesterday.
Awesome.
And he was very grateful. He ended up posting about it.
Now he gets to have coffee with Jeff and Derrick every morning.
He's going to be drinking straight out of our heads. So
excellent.
So Ryan, thank you so much. We appreciate you engaging and everything.
For sure.
Patreon. So we have 3 people that have signed on, man.
Awesome.
Isn't that cool?
That's very cool.
And 2 names that everyone's going to recognize, and maybe the 3rd one, but I know I don't. So Burke Jensen, thank you very much for signing on. Danny Day.
Yeah, we know that name.
Danny Day, you the man, thank you. And Jimmy Fulp.
Yes, thank you, Jimmy.
That is great.
That is great.
That is so good. So we do appreciate it. It does go a long way.
Yeah.
It really does.
For sure.
Like I said, if everyone, first off, our YouTube channel, you guys got to go there and watch. If you're watching on Facebook, just shoot over to YouTube.
Right.
That's really where we can gain some traction as far as, resources and monetizing this thing.
Yeah.
And then, patronize our YouTube channel if you could. And then adding that to Patreon, we can grow this thing.
Yep. Yep. Awesome.
So, all right, let's talk about Brandon.
Yeah.
You know him better than I. He was an awesome guest. He was fun. He came in with whiskey, but it didn't turn into a party or anything.
No.
He was just sipping on some whiskey.
Serious.
And he came ready to talk and have fun.
Well, if you've seen any of the videos or photos of Brandon's work on Facebook, the guy can make any band look like $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally feel like you're at a Metallica concert. He has got all kinds of amazing lights and lasers and we talked about I don't remember what they're called now, the cold sparklers.
Oh, cold sparks.
The cold sparks. And that's just another level of making things look amazing.
It's messy, he said, but it's a way for a band to make it look like when they hit a big spot, a big diamond.
Right.
It acts as though they're getting like flames or an explosion.
Right.
But it's not smoke, it's cold sparks.
Yeah. I don't have any idea how that works.
He said you can literally just have it blasting through your hand.
It looks
you
great.
Don't feel it, and it looks really cool.
Yeah. But I met Brandon many years ago. Sat in on his kit before with I think the band he was with at the time was Circus. Yeah. I played a couple of songs with them. And he's a great drummer. He is a musician, but now I think he focuses more on his lighting business. Yeah. And it pays off, man. If you need a guy to make you look good for an important show, call him.
And Aquanet.
Yeah.
He played an Aquanet.
Yeah.
But yeah, check out his page on Facebook. All the links for him will be in the description. Yep. And there's a point in this interview where we definitely talk about all of this, and we're going to pepper in some images.
Yeah.
Much like when we feature someone's song, we put in some images of the artist and the band, and then maybe some family stuff to show the human side of these people. And we'll be doing the same for Brandon.
Yeah.
And shout out to Brandon, Steve Owens, and Jimmy Fault.
Yep.
Because they all live in Hernando.
Yep.
We all need to hang out.
Yep.
And have coffee at Coffee Central. Shout out to Coffee Central.
Absolutely.
So
one other thing I'll mention about Brandon, he recently posted a video of the church that he goes to. He runs lights at the church, and they had their church band do some TSO. Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Are you serious?
Yes. And Brandon, man, he lit it up. It looked like a TSO show. It was amazing. And I instantly hit Jeff Cobble up on Facebook because he's always wanted to put something together to do that kind of music.
Yes.
And I said, Jeff, if we look like this, I'm in. Let's do it. But you can't do that music and just have regular lights.
Or fake it. Like you gotta learn that stuff.
You gotta know it. You gotta have a big band, and you gotta have the lights and the smoke and everything to make it look good. So anybody that's interested in doing that for next year in the holidays, get with us. We'll do
That's a heck of a church band if they're pulling that off.
It looked really good and sounded really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as always, y'all, thank you so much for listening and watching and commenting, and it's awesome. Yeah. It's just fun. Me and Jeff have trouble keeping up with the page and our how we get tagged on everything. Don't stop.
Yeah, that's not a bad thing.
Keep going. Yeah. But it's exciting.
Absolutely.
And this thing is really getting some legs.
It's taking off. We love you guys. Thanks for the support, and have a great 2023.
Yes. Enjoy this interview with Brandon Marlier.
Yes.
Brandon, thanks for being on the podcast, man.
Well, gentlemen, thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming.
Welcome to the studio.
Very nice. I like it.
And I always thank everyone for making the drive, because I know Hernando's a hike for most people. And this gentleman is right behind me. Yeah. He's like 5 minutes from where I live. So Hernandoan.
Yeah, it was a tough 10-minute jaunt here.
So where are you originally from?
Well, I grew up in Slidell, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
So I was actually born in Pittsburgh, and then shortly thereafter, we moved to Slidell, Louisiana, which is about 45 minutes north of New Orleans. Yeah. So great place.
That's quite the hike. I'm gathering it's work-related as far as your dad or something?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he had taken a job down there, and that's where I grew up.
Cool. So what brought you up here?
After I graduated from Southern Miss, I moved up here in August of 2002 for work, and been here ever since.
Cool. Well, we're glad to have you here. I always throw this to Jeff, because Jeff is the man that books the guests, because he just knows everybody, and you were quickly on the list.
Yeah,
we got to talk to Brandon.
I don't know how that happened.
Sure you do.
So Brandon, obviously in the intro that everyone just heard, we talked about you, but Jeff, now let's get to know Brandon a little more and explain why he is here.
Yeah, well, the main reason I asked you to come here is because you make all the bands in town look amazing. You own a brand, or Marlier Lighting and Design.
Marlier Sound and Light Design. I had to add in sound.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
And of course, during this interview, we're going to show some slides and some photos of the way you've made so many bands look, and it's amazing. But that's why I brought you here. I wanted to talk about your lighting company, let people know who you are, let them know how they can get in touch with you if they want lights or sound ran for their band.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you're a drummer. That's not secondary. You're a great drummer, and you let me sit on your kit at one time to play. I believe that was with Circus.
It was.
So let's talk about the bands you've played for first, your drums, your gear, whatever you want to tell us about it, and then we'll get into the lighting and sound design of the business that you have.
Sure.
So tell us about Circus and Aquanet.
Well, Aquanet was the first band. I moved into a rental house in South Haven in 2004 and just practicing in the room. And the neighbor shows up and says, "Hey, do you play drums?" Who happens to be Mark, the bass player for Aquanet. And he said, "Hey, you want to join a band?" I was like, "Sure, why not?" And one thing led to another, and that ended up being about a 7-year relationship where Aquanet did very well. You know, we had tons of shows around here, got to open for some national acts.
Wow.
Really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Did you play Boiling Point back in the day?
Oh, yeah.
Because I think I've seen you. And you guys would wear the get up, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think you guys had like a wall of Marshall boxes. Was that part of your setup? Yeah. I have seen you guys.
Yeah,
yes.
the guitar player.
I don't remember this. Good job, Derrick.
Because at the time I was playing with a band called Mudflap King, and we were playing Boiling Point. And then I think I went there for dinner just to, I don't know. And then Aquanet was playing. I was like, these guys are cool. Like, I like the music, and it's like a tribute, you know, to it. Not a tribute to a band, a tribute to an era.
Correct.
Yeah.
Glam rock and roll was the target. Yeah. Axel Grease was the name of the guitar player, and
Axel Grease.
Axel Grease.
Man, that's good.
So
lots of spandex and wigs.
Yes. So he made a wall of Marshall cabinets that looked really cool.
Yeah,
it was really cool because we had all kinds of stuff. We had lights and fog and everything. So it was a good gimmick. And the guys are still going today.
Okay, really?
And I do, and I run sound and lights for them quite often.
Okay, cool.
So they're all still doing the same thing.
Were you just kind of worn out and just decided to do different things, or?
Well, in 2011, my son was born. So at that point in time, I said, well, I need to get focused on family and stuff and do that. So
good for you.
Just kind of stepped away. And of course, I had the opportunity to sit back in with them and play a few shows here and there. But
Yeah, I actually sat in with them and played a show out at the Haystack.
You sure did. I was about to bring that up.
That was a fun time. That was one of those. It was pretty short notice, and they used tracks, which actually helped me quite a bit because it wasn't just a click track; it was tracks with instruments on them. And that gives you an idea of where you're at in the song, and it just helped a lot. And I was familiar with a lot of the tunes as well, so that was fun.
Yeah, there's a short period of time where they did use tracks, and then the keyboard player he came back and decided to because he actually was in Circus with us as well.
Okay. All right.
Doug was. So then if we want to transition into Circus.
Yeah, tell us about it.
I think it'll be about 2014 or 15.
All right.
We kind of got together and ended up bringing back a lot of the Aquanet guys into Circus. So lead singer, same.
Okay.
Different guitar player, same bass player, and then also the keyboard player came into Circus. So
give us names. Throw names out there.
Well, Jay McNeil, lead singer, he sings also for Aquanet. Doug Comfort.
Okay.
He is the keyboard player for Aquanet, goes by Slicky Blue in that band, and he went by Freak in Circus.
Okay.
Mark Vines was bass player for Aquanet and also for Circus for a while, and then we transitioned over to Jonas Palmer.
Okay.
And then, of course, myself, and then Jack Crowley was the lead guitar player, who is now the lead guitar player for Aquanet.
Okay, I did not know that. Okay, I've been out of the game for a little bit. So.
What was Circus's hook? What kind of music was it?
It was kind of a bit of everything. That was the nice part about it. It wasn't like Aquanet where we were just kind of, put in a box for different types of music. You couldn't kind of really get out. So we did Eminem rap. We did Unbelievable, Pretty Fly for a White Guy.
Yeah, okay.
Just anything that would
really
put
fun
together.
music.
Really good party music.
Yeah, it was. And it was nice and I think it helped me drumming wise because I was just kind of stuck in that 80s metal, drumming and stuff, and then changing out, going into doing, Lenny Kravitz to one show, to one song, and then over to Collective Soul for another, and bouncing back and forth from different things.
I would have loved that band.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun. It was different.
Yeah.
Do you sing? Do you sing at all?
No singer.
No.
Right there with you, buddy.
I'll leave that up to my wife. No singing.
And, I do sing, but not real well.
No, you sing great.
Well,
If you just focused on it and warmed everything back up and everything, you can break out some good harmonies too.
Maybe I need to quit playing drums and see if anybody needs a lead singer.
I bet you'd be an awesome karaoke guy.
Oh yeah.
Are you doing any vocals in Derrick Joseph?
No, it's been talked about quite a bit, and so far I've been able to avoid that. It's a different animal when you're playing drums and you try to sing. For me, it all falls apart at that point.
Yeah.
I can do one or the other, but both at the same time is a little challenging.
So, when did Circus end, and did you jump into anything else as far as band wise?
Well, Circus ended in, I think, 2018, just about around this time. It was the Friday after Thanksgiving of that point in time. The lead guitar player, his wife actually joined the band with us for a little bit.
I remember that.
And she had a baby.
Audra?
Yes, Audra. Mm-hmm. She had a baby, so at that at that point in time, newborn, and it was just... it was fun.
Funny how babies can put a damper on the music.
Yes.
It's
so
tough.
we had a great time, and that was her first band to be in.
Yeah.
And then later on, they came up with Drunk Uncle,
which
I got to work with them and stuff on that. So it ended up being
a good name.
Yeah, it was a good name. And so I worked with them, did sound and lights for them quite a bit, and it was another kind of situation where they could do a lot more of the female lead vocals and different stuff like that. Plus, Doug sang real well, so they would throw in Foo Fighters or something like that, and he would do a great job on that.
We'll have to get Jack and Audra to come in here when we're able to do two interviews at once, because they're good. They'd be fun to talk to.
It won't be long before we can do two people.
Yeah,
and I'll have 4 of us total. We'll get in there.
Yeah.
Expanding.
Yeah.
So, so past your time as a drummer in these bands, let's talk about your lighting company. I want you to tell us, how did that come about? How long has that been going on? Where do you see it going from here? But I'm telling you, I showed Derrick some photographs and some videos before you got here. And we're thinking, holy crap, these people look like they're playing at Mud Island, or it's it's pretty amazing, dude. What you're doing and the way you make the bands look, they could suck as far as music is concerned, and they would still look like $1 million. I'm not saying anybody does suck. That's not it. Just saying, you make them look great.
Well, in Aquanet, that was one of the things we focused on, because, all the 80s bands had nice lights and whatnot. So slowly we added more stuff, and I just tried to make it, extravagant, to where if you went out and saw this band and you're like, oh, okay, they're cool. Then you went out and saw this band. Oh, they're great. I mean, they're really great musicians. But then you go out and see Aquanet and you're like, wow, that's just a visual show.
Sure. People listen with their eyes. Yep. I mean, Kiss is a prime example.
Exactly. Pyrotechnics and, all that kind of
stuff.
And
it's the cool gimmick. I mean, legendary. Yeah. But
so I kind of, that started in the band. And then after that kind of ran its course, I was doing, things here and there, kind of putting stuff together, things all these lights I'd gotten over the years and whatnot, kind of putting stuff together. And I did a few shows here and there for, there's a band called Trigger Proof that used to play.
I remember Trigger.
I know those guys.
That was a Hit Boot Casino.
Hit Boot Joe together, right.
Yep.
And those guys are amazing. Watching Troy drum was
good.
Troy Leupold?
Yes.
I'm good friends with him and his brother.
Okay.
Man, you talk about somebody that, you could track him down. I think he lives on the coast now. He'd be good to bring up
there.
That was
sings his ass off.
Oh, yeah, on top. So did a couple light shows with them when they play in town, and just to kind of practice and whatnot. And when Sean Few, who was with the Dantones and now was formerly known as, and also 6 Feet Thunder, hit me up for a New Year's Eve gig, 2017.
Okay.
And it was going to be outside at Overton Square, that little patio out there. So I was sitting here thinking, okay, this is good. It'll be a new band to work with. Check it out. Until I found out it was going to be about 8 degrees that night. And I was like, oof. Well, luckily I showed up there, and Nolan's had set up everything. They had lights and sound and everything. So I called Sean. I was like, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this show because I have no place to put anything. Nolan showed up with movers and all kinds of stuff. So, we didn't get to do that. But that's kicked off the relationship with the Dantones to where I really was their primary guy as far as they would do smaller stuff and do sound, but they had so many weddings booked. I did a lot of private parties, weddings, did all their sound and lights and whatnot. So that's what kind of kicked off my relationship with Sean, and then allowed me to really kind of expand.
Right.
lighting stuff.
Yeah.
So what do you have? What does your rig look like?
This may take a while.
No, it's pretty simple. It's like what I used Friday night for 6 Feet Thunder at Lafayette's would be 2 4-watt lasers, 8 LED park hands, 4 side, and then 4 of these little mini movers.
Yeah.
And then just a haze machine.
Oh man, it looks like tens of thousands of dollars worth of equipment when you get it going.
It's
amazing.
It's not extravagant equipment. It's really on how you run it to match the song and match what's going on for that particular song and then the venue and whatnot. Unfortunately for Lafayette's, their house lighting is lacking.
Yeah.
So I use their front lights as much as I can instead of having to bring stuff in. But I know, speaking with Julian, even Friday night, that's one of the things they're tackling. And Keith Lyle was saying the same thing. They're working on trying to get that.
Yeah.
So do you operate manually to the tempos and to the music? Or do you dial it into?
No, I operate everything manually because I want every song to, have its own feel. I'm not a set and forget kind of guy. Unless it's an acoustic show or something, I can just kind of set it on slow fade. But if a band hires me to run it, I'm going to run it.
Right.
Do you have a spotlight to feature when someone's singing?
Yeah, it depends. If I have my full rig out there with some movers and things, I can do that. But depending upon the front lights situation, whether I'm using a house front lights or I'm using my own, it just kind of varies. On a normal basis for what I do, no, I don't.
Yeah.
But I can turn the back off and have the front on just to kind of spotlight, or vice versa, where you have that shadow effect. You can light from behind and turn it off on the front.
Well, just a small piece of advice: if you're ever running lights for a band that Alan Bone's playing drums in. Don't hit him in the face with a bright white spotlight. Pretty funny story. We were at one of their gigs recently. I think it was Midnight Train from Memphis.
At the Crossing for a benefit for John Davis.
The guy was hitting Alan right in the face with the spotlight. And I swear to God, during the song, Alan says, dude, if you don't get that fucking spotlight out of my face, I'm going to lose my shit.
Yeah.
The spotlight left his face immediately and never returned.
Yeah, it was funny. Right in between songs, he's like...
He's not the type of guy you want to come be jumping off the drums charging at you.
We've met him. We interviewed him. Very nice guy, but intimidating, too. I would never cross that guy.
We love you, Alan.
Man, and talk about beating drums up.
We discussed that in his interview. It's coming soon. Yeah, he's a monster.
So when you first started dabbling in the lighting and stuff, was it from get-go all LEDs, or did you ever play around with old par cans?
We had old pars. We had, in Aquanet, we had these things called Dynalights. And they were, let's see if I can get my brain wrapped around this. Each bulb was 12 volts. They were aircraft landing lights. So each bulb was 12 volts, and you had to have them in series of 9 to get 120 volts. So they were daisy chained together. So if one bulb blew, the whole thing was out. So it was a wiring nightmare, and I'm surprised it would never pass code today.
Did you blow breakers? Did you pop breakers?
So there's a lot of places. Like for instance, at the Crossing, if you go and look at the outlets by the floor, there's numbers on them. And we did that a long time ago because we bring these lights in the Crossing.
Right.
And we had to figure out which circuits were different from the others because we blow it all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So if they're still written down there, if it's got a different number, it's a different circuit. We had to go back and chase. Yeah, we had to go back and chase that back in the day. Miss Betty was like, what are y'all doing in the breaker box?
And now with LEDs, man, it's just amazing. And it's affordable and easy to package and just everything.
And the best thing about them is they're not hot.
Right. No. Well, you know what? I'm gonna be on the other side of that argument. I miss the heat on the stage.
Yeah.
And getting a little sweaty. It just created an atmosphere that I enjoy. Like it just made it I miss the heat.
Yeah, but as a bass player, you can move around when they're shining down on our necks. You're like, well, I got to.
And I'm fat enough to create a lot of my own heat. I don't need that.
But yeah, the headache with them. Yeah, it's a no brainer. And years ago when I was in my little a band, like in my early 20s, and me and my buddies didn't know what we were really doing, and we were like, let's buy some lights, and we bought 2, I think 4-can trees, whatever. And a smoke machine. We thought we were cool, and everyone hated us. We'd pop breakers, we'd smoke them out, and we were just trying to be cool, but not cool.
Yeah. The good thing about a par can is you could take those things and throw them out the second-story window, plug them in, they'll work just fine.
They're always all dented up.
Oh, yeah, but they work no problem. Sure. These LED lights, if you don't take care of them.
They're a little touchy.
They're a little touchy, as you know, because
you helped me set up some lights back when I played for Nick Garrison. We played for Nick Garrison. That lighting rig that I had, Brandon was the one that helped me set all that up and figure out how to run it wirelessly and all that stuff.
But then he did show up for us for a radiometer at the crossing, and you just and you spoiled us. Yeah, because then after that we're like, oh.
And that's a great place for that kind of rig of lights too, because it's a real small, compact stage, so it just really just fills up that whole space.
And just so people know, I think you mentioned weddings. You do weddings. You do all kinds of functions. You're not just limited to local bands. And we want to plug your business as much as we can. So weddings and what other functions do you do?
Weddings, parties, a lot of uplighting. So I can use the same kind of par cans to uplight the walls. I had a wedding one time where they wanted the curtains to be crossed, with a white or a green. I think it's white or green light kind of just coming across for a look. So I was able to do that. Lately, these cold spark cannons have been taking off like crazy.
I saw that. I saw a video on your Facebook page.
I had an event last night in Holly Springs, and they wanted their exit. Yeah. So everybody lines up, fire those things off, and the photographers love them.
Yeah.
So
they look really cool.
I want to talk about those. So a little more detail. So they're like little cans that go on the floor and they shoot cold sparks up?
Correct.
So it obviously isn't hurting anybody.
Right.
I was going to say, tell us what that means. There's no heat from it at all?
Well, the box itself gets to about 500 degrees internally.
So don't touch it.
Right. Well, no, the box itself is cool. It's similar to a hazer or a fog machine, because the guts of a hazer or a fog machine are wrapped in almost like a cottony kind of material, but they get super hot.
Okay.
So if you ever take the cover off and put your hand over, you can feel it.
Right.
So it's about the same. You pour this powder into the one side and let it, and once it heats up, and then you fire it off, and you can put your hand, you can put your hands in it. Okay. The only thing is they're a little bit messy, because as they pop off, the ash, ends up back on the ground. So if you do them on a dance floor, we did them in the Botanic Gardens a couple weeks ago. So as soon as that was over, you kind of had to clear everybody, get a dust mop, clean that up so it doesn't get all over people's wedding dresses and things like that. So you got to, weddings and bridesmaids, have the bride and bridesmaids have them kind of move over.
Right.
Don't get your dresses disgusting.
Do you use those for bands?
I have,
because all I can picture like with any band that has a big ending, and you see the flames come up. You can do that instead. That must look so cool on stage having.
I've done it a couple times at an outside gig with Sean and them, with formerly known as.
I was going to say, Sean Few, being the Kiss fan that he is, that guy has got to have been using those at some point or another.
We've got to use them a couple times, and we got the clearance to use them at Lafayette's.
Okay, cool.
So, and that was the night last March when it snowed. So Pete and them were playing, Area 51 was playing, and I drove in this ridiculous snowstorm to get down there.
Right.
And they're all playing, and they don't realize what's going on. They look outside, and there's 2 inches of snow on the ground between when their set stops and this one starts. But nobody else showed up, so we decided not to go with it.
You've mentioned Sean Few and 6 Feet Thunders, and formerly known as, a couple of times. Tell us who those guys are, who's in the band. Let's plug them and give them.
So formerly known as is probably the most, they play a lot more, because the other band, 6 Feet Thunder, is kind of like an all-star. It's almost like a fifth kind kind of put together.
Super group.
Yeah. So formerly known as will be Sean Few, lead vocals.
Yep. Bass.
Julian Wong, bass as well.
Yep.
Julian Wong, guitar.
Okay.
Seth Kuykendall, guitar, and he also sings, and then Jacob Turner, the phenom drummer.
He is scheduled to come in here for an interview, and this kid can play his butt off. Man. So he really pisses me off, to be honest with you.
Exactly. Because I'll sit out there running sound, just going, damn kid.
He's amazing. He's good.
He is. He's taking it serious.
And then 6 Feet Thunders is another Sean Few band where he plays bass and sings, but he sings backup in that band.
He'll do some leads.
Okay.
I mean, Mark Holt is the main
lead singer.
He's the lead singer.
All right.
Then you've got Josh Haynes, of course.
Yeah.
Jimmy Fulp on drums. He sings as well. Scott Sudbury.
All right.
So you've got 5 lead singers.
Amazing players and singers. And that's a killer band.
Yeah, but they play a lot of really deep tracks and stuff like that. So they pull out some, like they play Mr. Roboto the other night.
That's awesome.
Never heard another cover band pull that off.
Sure. And there was a video of them, I believe, on Facebook the other day where they were playing a Styx tune, and I freaking tagged Todd Suckerman. They were so good. It was Jacob. It was
Renegade. They were doing Renegade.
They were doing Renegade. Jacob was playing drums, and I thought it was so good that I just hit up the guy that does it for a living. And I don't think he saw it or he didn't make a comment, but I was hoping he would.
I would too. I love that guy.
Yeah,
in real time, I talk about Jeff being the guest booker. He reached out to Todd Suckerman and invited him on the show because he's in Memphis as we're recording this. And he was nice enough to respond, turned us down, but really nice though.
Are you aware that he's here next Tuesday?
Yeah,
at the drum shop. Yeah, I
knew you were going to go. Are you going?
I'm not going.
Oh gosh, I figured you'd be.
No, I would love to, but I did. I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, we've got this new podcast. Would you?" I said, "I know it's a long shot, but I got to ask. I'll kick myself if I don't ask."
That's pretty cool though.
He responded. He responded. Super nice. He said he's only going to be here for a short time. He's super busy. Can't do it, but thanks for the invite. So
he is a busy man.
Oh God,
he's everywhere.
Yeah,
with his clinics and
Drumeo,
man. He's one of them.
So good.
Geez, watching his stuff on Drumeo is just awesome.
He's unreal. All right, you got anything else?
Tina Tatum, off the. We'll do a little sidebar here.
Sure.
What's interesting is as I'm getting better at trying to research, leading into these interviews, you're the first one that I went to your Facebook feed and just scrolled through. I don't know why I ended up doing that. And it was interesting and something I'm going to do more of because it was interesting to see what landed on your feed, what people were sharing or tagging you on. Of course, it was nice to see a lot of Rhythm Section podcast posts on there because we were tagging you and all that.
That was awesome.
As I'm scrolling through, I saw Tina Tatum in there. And if anyone doesn't know Tina Tatum, she owns Coffee Central and in South Haven and then Hernando, Coffee Central Squared. I host another podcast called The Real Hernando.
Right.
So I got to know her and interviewed her and featured her in her business, and we recorded in the back room of her Hernando location.
Very cool.
And now, it's just nice. I got to know her. And I was just interested. It's a small world. And now it makes more sense knowing that you live in Hernando. But totally off topic here. What's your relationship with Tina?
Well, Tina goes to our church, South Point Church, at corner of State Line and 51, the old bowling alley. Movie theater and lollipops. So, and if you do want to talk about that, let's talk about lighting and stuff there too. That's
absolutely
that's where I really get to showcase and have a lot of fun with really cool equipment. But segue back into Tina. Tina goes to church with us, so that's our home church, and she has done many. She's always been involved in a whole lot of things. She was doing what's called Gath Her. It's a ladies ministry group. And she had my wife do worship for them at one time. So, just pieces here and there. But the main reason we know Tina is that my daughter is one of the baristas there.
Okay. Which one? What's her name?
Maddie.
I know Michaela.
Long brown hair.
Okay. I'll have to ask for
She's
Maddie.
usually there in the evenings.
So your daughter works there.
She does, yeah. So she's there in the evenings. She does some morning shifts, but usually just on the weekend. But she's there just about, I'd say 3 to 4 days a week. Going about one.
I love the location. I love how it's its own little standalone, old house. Because of the podcast and because I like going there with my laptop and just working outside of studio or my home office just to get out and have some coffee. They have a really great chicken salad wrap. They're not paying me to say that. And so now it's I'm like Norm from the Cheers. I walk in, hey, Derrick, what's up, Derrick? And it's just, that's small city, small town. That's just the best. I love it. And Tina is a juggernaut. She does so many things for the community. It's amazing.
Yeah, I can just, every time I see her husband, Alan, I saw him at church this morning and he just looks tired. Because he's chasing her around all the time.
I went to her ribbon cutting for her new South Haven renovated spot. And so everyone circled around, they're giving a big speech, and Tina was right. She's like, I'm kind of the mouthpiece of this, but my husband is, the business, and he's so involved with this. And he basically just waved to everybody. He didn't say a word. He's just like, thank you.
That's funny.
And then Tina does all the talking because that's the role though. I mean, she's the face of all this stuff, and she just does such a beautiful job about it. But I was interested to learn the connection with Tina.
Right, yeah.
So, it's nice to know that we mentioned the church after dropping a few F-bombs. That works out really good.
Let's clear the air then. Let's talk about the wonderful lighting that you mentioned earlier.
That's pretty good. Yeah. As our pastor would say, you can always, ask for forgiveness. I mean, it's not a big deal. So my wife's the worship leader up there. And when we first got there, of course, it's 3 movie bays.
Right.
So it's if you were to take 3 of the different theaters that were there and knock the walls out and stuff, so it's 3 bays, slanted floor,
Right.
and a stage at the bottom. And so we went there, I want to say 2014 or 15.
Right.
I'm trying to get my dates right. But we've been there for quite a while. And then Katie ended up becoming the worship leader, my wife.
Right.
And from there, things just kind of blossomed. I finally talked him into spending a few dollars.
Yeah.
And got some really neat stuff. I've used the cold spark cannons there
Okay.
at church stuff. So it's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Yeah.
We try to make it,
I guarantee
it's
you
like
that
a rock
worship
show.
band loves you. Yeah.
Well, maybe we need to get you up there, see if you can.
I appreciate that, man. And I did visit that church. It's been several years ago, and you had it looking good then. So,
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I forgot you.
I
and your
did.
wife did come out
Yeah,
there.
we
Yeah,
came once.
it's grown a little bit.
I'm sure it was
It's a lot of fun.
it was big at that time. So I'm sure it's monstrous now.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And enjoy it.
We were talking about before we started, I was one of the house bass players for Christ Covenant Church, right on the corner of Thousand Oaks and Mackinvale. And shout out to Scott Smith, the worship leader at the time, Clint Wilkie, the pastor at the time. And I had a good run with them for about 4.5 years or so. But it was very acoustic, chill. I sat on a bench, little Ampeg bass amp.
Right.
Maybe a little going for this little PA. No lights, just fluorescent lighting. Very laid back, cajon for drums and everything, which was great. But Scott was really good with charts and everything. So it was a cool gig, and I really liked doing it. But eventually, I took a job at Longview Church, which is at the time was a new church in Cordova.
Okay.
And I took a position to be the backline leader, and just kind of direct the musicians while the front line was the worship leader ran all the singers. Right. The reason why I bring all this up is when I jumped from Christ Covenant to Longview, full PA, light show, we're in ears, we're playing the tracks. I'm actually get to stand up with real drums. I'm like, this is like a gnarly gig on a Sunday morning.
That's
I'm playing a gig.
Yeah, you're at a Stephen Curtis Chapman concert.
Yeah. All those years at Christ Covenant, I'm not trying to,
No.
That's just totally different.
But it was just a different feel, and it was its own thing. But then I'm like, wow, you know. But that came to an end just several months later, and I haven't played at a church since. But that was a really cool experience to play that bigger church, with the bigger production. And man, it was cool.
And then one of the reasons that I've never done much playing in church, me, I'm a hard hitter as well. I'm almost up there with Alan Bone, maybe not quite, but I hit pretty hard, and churches really aren't looking for a guy that's up there trying to play like he's Tommy
Most
Lee.
of them are behind glass, and now they have these full
complete
full
cages.
Cages.
Yeah, it's a room.
Yeah. That's a bummer.
Yeah.
We had a drum shield for a while, and we took it down and didn't notice really much difference. Now, we did get some of those Axis Istanbul symbols.
Yeah.
So the good thing about them is they ring, but then they just kind of sizzle out.
Yep.
They don't have that long drawn out
Interesting.
crash. They don't. It's a really good sound for that particular.
And you guys don't have as much of a problem with what I'm talking about because you have a very large area. Yeah. You're talking about these theater bays that you've turned into a church. It's a big stage and it's a big room. So a drummer would have to do his best to be too loud.
Yeah, there's a 7-piece Pearl kit up there though. It's
awesome.
It's nice. That was one of the things my wife, she's, I want a really nice drum set up there. So
she married the right guy. I bet you picked him out.
I did not get to pick him out. Actually, no. She sent another guy up there to the drum shop to deal with Bill Frazier, and Bill set us up.
Yeah. I would be so upset.
Brandon's church has pyro. And, smoke. And that'd be funny. Earlier when we were talking about the cold spark, what are those called? What's the
I guess they're considered cold spark cannons.
Cannons, okay. It made me think of this old band that I used to, years ago, back where I lived in Maine, there was they're still together, a disco tribute band called Motor Booty Affair. and they're great. And they're also like a comedy act. They get on the mics and just talk the part too. It's hilarious. But somehow I got involved with them, and I was helping with lights and just a roadie type, $50 a night, help carry some stuff, whatever. But they had the coolest gimmick. They got a leaf blower, taped a smaller paint roller.
Yep.
I would say that's probably like 4 inches.
Yeah.
And put a toilet paper on it. And then just fire away, and it would just shoot
Unroll.
toilet paper, and it was the coolest visual.
That is cool.
People loved it. Of course, it's a mess, but it made me think of that. It was
Did
like a
Circus
really
do
cool
anything
idea.
like that?
I built the toilet paper gun.
Yeah, I did. The whole time you're like, "Yep, I know what you're talking about."
Been there, done that.
I built this toilet paper gun out of an old blower from a house, AC unit.
Yeah.
So this sucker put out some air.
Right.
And I took a piece of PVC pipe about this long. I could take 3 rolls. Now you had to go to Lowe's and get the cheapest toilet paper. You got to get the 1-ply stuff that they put in.
Is the other too heavy?
Well,
It doesn't fly out as fast.
It doesn't fly out as fast, but it doesn't last as long either. You get that 1-ply toilet paper, you
forever.
can let that sucker just
Gotcha.
fill up a room
Yeah.
with toilet paper. Yeah, we did
And
it
you
at the
do
bowling
3
point.
rolls at once?
Yes.
Awesome.
So we did it at the bowling point. I could just the owners at the time were just going,
Oh, thanks. I bet these guns dried up after the pandemic and the shortage of toilet paper.
Yeah, right. Yeah. You think?
you weren't shooting anything.
You weren't shooting anything. So, where do you see this going as far as your lighting business? Like, what does the future look like? Any plans, or just kind of
It's
taking it as it comes?
Yeah, I'm doing that. It's the one thing I like about it. It's kind of an escape from just normal day-to-day stuff. I've got a normal 8 to 5 job, and maybe when I retire from that, I possibly will do this a little bit more.
Right.
But it's actually just kind of a fun little side gig. You couldn't make a living doing it.
Sure.
I don't think.
I understand.
You could if you hustled a bunch.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's just a little bit extra fun.
You got to try to book 3 or 4 nights
Kind of like
a week.
being a musician.
Yeah. But I'm sure it's a good chunk of change when you do it. I would gather you're a valuable asset, I would think.
It is, and yes and no. I mean, you do make some decent money and stuff, but I mean, there's quite a bit of expenses in it too.
Sure.
Mhm.
I mean, that powder for the cannons is $200 something bucks. I mean,
Wow.
it's not a
How many?
you can get 8 or 10 packs. It's gone down a little bit. It was closer up to about $350 for 10. Yeah.
And how
so
long does that last? I mean,
if you one of those packs would fill 2 machines to the max, and it'll go for about 8 to 10 minutes on low. Yeah.
that's it.
That's it.
$300.
No, well, now you divide that out. You divide that over 10. So you're talking about $35
Per
shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Okay,
yeah, no,
okay,
it's
yeah.
it's much. It's not
But
as
still,
bad.
that adds
Still
up.
It does add up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those cost a good bit to operate. So you have to do on the backside of that stuff. You do have to charge a little bit for them.
Right.
You're gonna have to talk to your pastor and be like, "Hey, man,
Well, no, I'll give them those. I'll
you get one good one each sermon. Make sure you use it in the right spot."
No, we've only used them one time. We'll use them at the Christmas service. We're doing Carol of the Bells Trans-Siberian Orchestra, so I've been racking my brain on how I'm going to make this light show look.
Oh yeah, you got your work cut out for you on that one.
Yeah,
That'd
I'm
be
worried
fun.
about the timing and all this stuff, whether I want to do it manually or whether I want to try to set it on the timer, because I'm nervous. If I set it on a timer and I'm just a half a second off, it's going to look weird. So that's why I'm like, I think I may want to just manually do this.
Anybody know Joel Hoekstra? Get him in here for this show.
Is he the main light guy
No, he's the main guitar player for Trans-Siberian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, piece of cake.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's already listening.
Somebody listening knows the guy and has his number. I'm sure.
I bet so.
Well, Memphis is one of those communities, as we're quickly learning. If you know 20 people, you know 200.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just 1 degree removed.
Yeah, I did lights for Medieval Steel when they did their show at Growlers. When was that? I want to say August or so.
Right.
They hit me up and asked me to come do that. Very odd stage at Growlers because it kind of comes,
I know Growlers.
And I was like,
Yep.
they were talking about they're going to change it and whatnot, but it was really tough to light that stage because
You don't get anything on stage left. There's that wall.
right. And that wall's long, and then the drummer's kind of cocked back in here.
Yep.
So I had to paste some lights on the right side and then on the left side. And I used their front lights because there was really no room to put any front lights up,
Right.
which wasn't great.
Right.
They've got like 3 LED bars across the front. It worked. You could see their faces. Not what I would have liked, but there was just no possible way to do it with the way that room's shaped. But anyway, going back to that, talking to Steve, he's the bass player for Medieval Steel, and different people, like you said, if you know one, you know 20. And I was floored how many people that we knew, just word of mouth.
Right. You mentioned your wife a couple of times. You want to give her a shout out? Tell us her name.
Sure. Her name is Katie, and she is
how she's managed to put up with you all this time.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
I don't know how that either, but when you marry out of your league, you just kind of stay.
A drumming light director.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure
That's
she was
awesome.
just like,
Yeah. I'm sure she was infatuated from the get go.
How long you guys been married?
Let's see.
If he gets this wrong, he's in trouble.
well, we'll edit it out.
We're coming up on 13 years.
13, yeah.
Coming up on 13.
All
But, and yeah, so she's got multiple hats. She loves she does baking, photography. She has a full-time job, and then she's also the worship leader at the church.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love that
busy.
entrepreneurial thing. You get your jobs, you get your security, but then build some things that brings in a little extra money, but it's creative and it's a hobby that turns into a little business. That's awesome. I love that.
She's a true artist.
Yeah,
like
okay.
a true artist. So she has to have. She's got a 8 to 5, just to make ends meet. But for her creative outlet, she decorates cakes and cupcakes, and she's a wonderful baker. So she'll do pies and things for folks. But that's her creative outlet.
Okay,
is to be able to cook and design things. And she did a lot of artwork and creativity for the church and whatnot. And then of course she gets to sing every week. So
yeah,
she loves that.
Oh.
Well, look, man, this has been awesome.
Thank you guys for having me.
No problem. Before we close this out, let's point some people to where they can find you and your business, and where can anyone find all this information about you?
Well, the only thing I've got going right now is the Facebook page, Marlier Sound and Light Design. I had a website for a while, but it wasn't generating much traffic.
I get it.
So, but yeah, you can hit me up on there. You can email me at bmarlier@comcast.net if you guys have any questions or anything like that, or you want me to come out and light your band up.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a heck of a job with 6 Feet Thunders and with formerly known as, and hopefully there will be some other guys that hear and want to use you. And as long as it doesn't bite into your time with those guys, because I know I know how bands can be. Once they find somebody, they want to keep them.
Yeah,
So,
especially when they look like that.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and I've had like I said, work with you guys. I actually worked with Derrick Joseph on the Square before you two were in the band.
Yep. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, he headlined year before last.
Yep.
So I got to do sound and lights.
So that was during one of my breaks.
Yeah, it was right before you guys came into the band, so I got to work with him. Of course, Rustin Haven, Twin Soul, done a bunch of stuff with.
Awesome.
This new 80s band, Breakfast Club. They had me do some stuff last week. So
that's a fitting name.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, look, next time, like I always say to everyone, this isn't a one and done. We'll have you back. But next time, I want some cold sparks up in this place.
Yeah.
All right?
We can do it.
I give you clearance for that.
Yeah.
We can do it. You got a fire extinguisher?
Yeah,
just in case.
For you guys listening, you can catch us on Facebook at the Rhythm Section Pod. Derrick has a YouTube channel. It's Derrick Michaud channel, and spelling is in the description. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, my last name's wacky. It's hard.
It's French.
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
Mine.
All right, I like this guy.
Spotify, Apple iTunes, we're everywhere. Catch us, check us out. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yes, thank you. And like I always say, this doesn't exist with people like yourself in this community, musicians, artists.
Yep.
We can only do so many Derrick and Jeff shows. So thank you to the whole community for engaging and sharing our posts. It doesn't exist without y'all, and we can't wait to grow more with everyone. So thank you for that. And okay, we gotta do the shameless plugging here. All right, so this is in SRP Studios. So if anyone wants to start a podcast out there, go to shelbyrowproductions.com, get a free consultation. You'll be talking to me directly. I'd love to hear from you. And Patreon, we have a tip jar. Go to patreon.com, or you can click the link in our description. It's $1 a month. That's it. No premium content. It's just a tip. If you want to help donate and support this podcast, you can do so there. It would be greatly appreciated and go a long way. So again, Brandon Marlier.
Or Marlier.
Marlier. One of these days, we're gonna finish. This is gonna be an ongoing joke because people are gonna be listening to this and like the song always runs out on these guys.
Yeah, we're gonna fix that.
Someday we're gonna tighten it up so we finish it before the song ends.
Yeah.
So Brandon Marlier, thank you for being here. Jeff, thank you.
Thanks, Derrick.
All right, everyone, enjoy the day. Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.